conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. Now, I know that they have agreed to a ceasefire. You've got China coming in and getting them to work on things to get to some sort of an actual peace deal. But I want to take a step back and look at what in the world happened, what we need to know about this conflict, and if we should be concerned about clashes happening again in the near future. Joining me now to discuss is Carl Za, a geopolitical analyst and the host of the Silk and Steel podcast. Carl, thanks so much for taking the time to join me.
Thank you, Rachel, anytime.
I'm glad I get to talk to you today. I know that there is a lot going on in the world. The US government, right, the US establishment is kind of planning behind the scenes in their bloodlust for eventual war with China. But I did want to ask you while I have you on, because I know that I have been sort of offline for the last week, and I come back and I'm going, okay, what in the world is happening over here between Thailand and Cambodia? They just had their deadliest conflict in more than a decade over the course of just a few days. And it's interesting because everyone wants to take credit for the ceasefire, but it's actually been China that came in, initiated talks recently to help mediate an actual peace process. So will you kind of take us through what happened, how you see this current ceasefire, and is it likely we are going to see more clashes anytime soon?
Yeah, well, when in doubt, blame the French. And in this case, you will be correct because this is a result. The border dispute originally started as the old colonial border was arbitrarily drawn on a map. But the dispute centers around this Priya Bihar temple that was contested between Cambodia and Thailand. This temple was built by the ancient Khmer Empire. Khmer, for your audience, is like the ethnic name for people of Cambodia. Like Khmer Rouge literally means red Khmer. And Khmer Empire used to extend to much of the Southeast Asia, including present Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, southern Vietnam. But right around the time of Mongol conquest of China, a lot of the Thai-speaking people got pushed out of southern China and started mass migration into Southeast Asia. And that coincided with the decline of the Khmer Empire. So pretty soon, all these Thai-speaking people start to found their own principalities and kingdoms, one of them being the predecessor to the present-day Thailand. And they took over a large part of the territory. And then Siam became a very powerful kingdom in Southeast Asia. And they even subjugated the kingdom of Cambodia, made kingdom of Cambodia their vassal state. Like Cambodia still retained their independence. They still have a king that rules over its people, but they have to pledge like personal fealty to the Thai king. And then comes the European colonial power in the 19th century. The British came from the west. They took over Myanmar, incorporated that into British India. The French came, established what they call the French Indochina, which included Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And Thailand got caught in the middle, and it was desperately trying to preserve its independence. In order to do so, they had to make a lot of concessions to the colonial power like France. And so France like, okay, you have to give up your overlord statusship over Cambodia because Cambodia is my land now. In return, I will give you some consolation prize. Here's a couple Cambodian provinces. You can have those. But a few years later, French changed their minds. Like, okay, we're just kidding about that. We got to have those territories back. And in 1904, France forced Thailand to agree to demarcate the border along the so-called watershed principle, which France said, hey, look at those big natural mountains. Those will form natural borders between Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand didn't have much choice. They're facing with a much stronger power. So they acquiesced. And then a few years later, when the French engineers finally got around to actually survey the map, they realized they again changed their minds. Like, I'm sorry, we had to make adjustment to the boundary because these areas, we just discovered the ancient Hindu temple Priya Bihar. Those are very important cultural heritage to the Cambodians. So we got to include that in the map of Cambodia. And they unilaterally drew the map. The Thai didn't find out about this until years later. And by the time the Thai protested, the Europeans said, sorry, it's too late. It took you 20 years to complain, and for the 20 years, that means for 20 years you have acknowledged French possession of that land. So sorry, no luck. So during World War II, Thailand allied with Japan in order to get their disputed territory back, and so they did occupy the disputed territory after the Japanese Empire moved in. But after near the end of the war, when the tide has turned against Japan, Thailand thought, "Oh, holy crap! Okay, well, I'm gonna return all those land back to you, France, and just don't label us as a belligerent with the Japan." So they did a last minute flip flop like Italy did during in World War II, and but the but the Thai still want that land back. So in the 1950s, when the French finally got defeated by the Vietnamese in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, as a result of 1954 Geneva Peace Conference, French troops had to get out of French Indochina, including Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. So after 1954, Thailand took opportunity when the French troops were withdrawing to move in to occupy those disputed land. And Cambodia then in 1962 took them to court, to the International Court of Justice, and the ICJ ruled that the temple should belong to Cambodia. But ICJ did not make a ruling on the land around the temple. So that presented a problem because the temple itself, it sits on top of a cliff, and from the Cambodian side, it's a cliff. It's the much easy access is through the Thailand side. So the dispute around the land around the temple continued until 2008. Cambodia filed for UNESCO heritage status for Preah Vihear Temple, and Thai objected. So like, no, that should be at least a joint filing between Thailand and Cambodia. And the border clash happened back then. There was exchange of fires, injury and death on both sides. And then in 2011, Cambodia sent another petition to International Court of Justice, asked for a second ruling on the disputed land around the temple. That led to another fresh round of fighting between Cambodia and Thailand. And then in 2013, ICJ finally ruled, okay, those lands should also go to Cambodia. And but there was a long period of peace between these two countries. In particular, in the latest round of border clash actually started in May this year. And when that happened, the Thai Prime Minister she made a phone call to the senior leader of Cambodia, Hun Sen. She called him uncle and said, "Uncle, sorry, we don't want this mess. It's all the fault of the Thai generals. I'll try to fix this." But the audio got leaked. Their private conversation, the audio got leaked. It got posted on the Facebook page of Cambodian leader Hun Sen, and Hun Sen himself confirmed the audio is authentic. So this raised a huge firestorm in Thailand, because they're like, "What the hell are you calling our enemy uncle? And why are you apologizing? Why are you blaming our military for this?" So the Thai military supported a Thai Supreme Court, then suspended the prime minister from her duty as prime minister because of that leaked audio of the phone call, and because of, and they were about to make a ruling about whether to make that suspension permanent, whether to remove her completely from the post of prime ministership. So it's at this very critical juncture that the fighting broke out again, and it was and this is the most deadly, most violent clash since this conflict started a century ago. More than 30 people on both sides have died. The Cambodians were firing like grass rockets into Thailand. The Thailand were sending F-16s to bomb Cambodian positions. But the thing is, it's really totally unnecessary for these two countries, because both countries are still developing emerging economies that really need to focus on their own domestic infrastructure needs, education, etc. They can't afford to be distracted by this border war. And also, ASEAN and China have a vested interest to calm things down because China has a lot of China is friendly with both countries, with both Thailand and Cambodia. China uh, has a lot of investment. It's involving a lot of infrastructure project. China is trying to link up with a high speed rail that's been building in Thailand right now, and in Cambodia, China is building this a big canal. So, China, if one thing that China really hates is instability, right? Because that's war is bad for business. Both China and ASEAN have a vested interest to come in and calm down the waters, and this is where Donald Trump's coming. I guess he really wanted to his Nobel Peace Prize, so
Right.
he got himself to make the phone call and threaten both leaders. Say, hey, I'm gonna slap you with 36% tariff if you guys don't come to the negotiation table. And so this is very interesting. There is a little bit of U.S. China rivalry going on because U.S. basically is only lends USC Southeast Asia is as a battleground where they can battle or contain the Chinese influence. And a lot of people thought this might be a proxy war because Thailand is designated a major non-NATO ally of the United States, whereas Cambodia has been pretty close with China and more distant from the U.S. But the reality is a little bit different on the ground because, for example, the prime minister that's being ousted, well, hasn't been ousted, has been suspended in the Thailand. She came from a political dynasty of billionaire families in Thailand. Like her father was a prime minister before her, her auntie was the other prime minister before her, but both her dad and her auntie got thrown out of office by Thai military coup because the Thai military just don't like their family. But her family is very tight with the United States. The reason that Thailand became designated as a major non-NATO ally of the United States is back in 2003 during George W. Bush's so-called Great War on Terror. The Thai Prime Minister then, Shinawatra Senior, the dad of the current Prime Minister, he allowed Thai to do all these extra judicial rendition centers in Thailand, sending CIA to interrogate people and to give U.S. intelligence people free access to all the bases in Thailand. So that's how Thailand got designated non-NATO ally. But then he got thrown out in a military coup, and ever since the U.S. has been supporting the opposition who are opposing to the Thai military and the monarchist faction. So the Thai U.S. relationship have cooled, while the Thailand has further developed their tie with China. And it's and the reason, also the reason the Thai prime minister called the Cambodian prime minister uncle is because her dad, when she got kicked out of Cambodia, he went into exile in Cambodia and become economic advisor to the Cambodian government. So her dad was old family friends with a Cambodian leader Hun Sen. So this is why she's calling him uncle. And also, it's in Asian culture, it's a kind of respectful term to call like older man of your dad's generation uncle. And but what got the Thai people really upset is she's blaming the Thai military for the conflict, and she's overly deferential to her Hun Sen. And and this is the thing, the Thailand is the essential battleground for US, because US is supporting this this party who are on the opposite spectrum of the Thai military. And the reason the current Thai prime minister became prime minister, she was sort of a compromise candidate. So her dad, when her dad put her in charge of his party because he was charged with corruption. He couldn't come back to the country. So she ran for the 2020, her party ran for the 2023 Thai election. But the 2023 Thai election was won by another party called the Move Forward Party, which is also backed by the United States. And it's another, not headed by another Thai billionaire, because the Thai people, they just like United States, between the military coup, they get to elect which billionaire get to rule over the country. And but the Thai military really hated this young billionaire that won the election and said, "Oh, we will not work with this guy." And the Move Forward Party got like 36% of the vote, so um, they need to form a coalition party. And originally, they were gonna form the coalition party with a younger Shinawat, because her party came in second in votes. But at the last minute, she said, "Oh, we're going to bring in this military-backed conservative party into the alliance." And so the Move Forward Party said, "Okay, sorry, we're out." So she formed a coalition government with a military-backed conservative party, and she became prime minister. So she was like a opposite, she was a compromise candidate that the military find more palatable than the other candidate, even though military hated her family. And so right now it looks like the Thai military is no longer happy with her and want her removed. And so there's a lot of internal politics going on as well in both Thailand and Cambodia. On the Cambodian side, Hun Sen has been ruling Cambodia since 1980s, and Hun Sen used to be a former member of Khmer Rouge. And when he find out he was about to be purged and executed, he ran away to Vietnam. He defected to Vietnam. He guided the Vietnamese army in the invasion of Cambodia in the 1978, 1979. When the Vietnam pushed out Khmer Rouge government, Hun Sen was put in charge, and he has been ruling Cambodia ever since. And he was able to push out all oppositions, like opposition supported by the U.S. government. But now Hun Sen is getting old, so he's passing the torch to his son Human Net. But now this is where something is happening, because Human Net graduated from the West Point in the United States.
Oh.
Yes, and he is trying to improve ties with the U.S. You know, he was seen talking with U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth during their recent meeting in Southeast Asia, and Humanier was also very publicly welcome Trump's intervention for the ceasefire. Well, it kind of makes sense, because Cambodia is kind of the weaker party. They want outside intervention, and Kumande understand exactly how to play Trump. You know, just butter him up a little bit. You know, like tell him he's a great peacemaker, and then he will warm up to you. And so right now there's a kind of warming of ties between Cambodia and United States, even though the two have been at loggerheads for a long time. There's a little bit cooling of ties between Thailand and US, because the Thai military didn't like what US is doing, and also they saw U.S. Ostensibly taking this neutral stance, when for the longest time U.S. has been ostensibly the Thai ally and been at odds with Cambodia, and now you're saying you're neutral. From the Thai perspective, essentially U.S. is taking Cambodia's side. So this is going to be interesting, because I foresee Thailand will continue to move closer to China. And Cambodia, while they will try to improve ties with U.S., I don't think they can really decouple from China, because they still depend on China for many mega projects going on in their country. The real problem is when it comes to Southeast Asia, United States offer only big sticks and no carrots. Like Trump said, if you don't do what I say, I will slap you with 36% tariff. But China is the one that's coming up with the real money, is investing in infrastructure project in the ground. So steadily, United States has realized they're losing ground to China. During the ceasefire broke the meeting, it was actually interesting, because you have the ceasefire was ostensibly brokered by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar on behalf of ASEAN, and so you have the Cambodian and Thai representatives, and you have the Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar. So you have the Thai flag, Cambodian flag, ASEAN flag, but off to the side, on one side sits a U.S. delegate with a U.S. flag. Other side sits a Chinese delegate with a Chinese flag. So these are all the party with interest involved. But I don't think the U.S. pivot to Southeast Asia will be successful, just because in terms of investment, the Chinese investment in the region completely dwarfs whatever U.S. have to offer, and U.S. is not really offering anything other than tariffs. The Philippines, they have been doing everything U.S. asked, and they only got to lower their tariff by 1%, and that's not winning. That's not the formula for winning friends. So I expect, it's the Chinese influence will continue to eclipse the U.S. influence in the region. There was a recent article in the Foreign Affairs magazine actually said the Southeast Asian countries already started to choosing sides. The former Singaporean diplomat Kishore Mubani had repeatedly told United States, "Don't make us forced to choose between U.S. and China. We really don't want to be forced to choose. We want to remain friends with everybody." But now, what he's really saying is, if you when the shit hit the fan, if you really force us hard, we're gonna have to choose China, and that's what's happening right now.
Wow, that was exactly the rundown that I needed because every article that I have read on this conflict included none of that information. So I appreciate you taking me through the literal history to get to this point. And that is an interesting point, too, because I was kind of looking at this and trying to figure out. I know we previously talked about the India Pakistan conflict and kind of how that could be seen as a proxy conflict, what weapons were being used, right? What fighter jets were being used, and how that also pointed back to the US and China. But when you're coming to these internal conflicts and the fact that, exactly as you noted there is a lot going on there, certainly a lot going on, a lot at stake here all around. And I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today to break down and explain all of the latest here. Carl Zaw, a geopolitical analyst and host of the Silk and Steel podcast. Thank you so much for your time and insight.
Thank you, Rachel. Anytime.
If anything in this video resonated with you, be sure to like it, share it with your friends, leave a comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to keep up with all of my work, make sure that you're subscribed to my page on Substack. That's rachelblevins.substack.com. That's where you'll find ad-free videos and new weekly episodes of my exclusive series for paid subscribers called Sanction. You can also check out Sanction over on my page on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Rachel Blevins.